All right. Good evening, everybody. I am Captain Haley Winters, and I am the Far West Diversity Outreach Officer here in the Department of Admissions. So tonight I'm going to be speaking with you guys about SLE, so our Summer Leaders Experience. Our information session is going to begin in about 5 minutes. So up until we start, please go ahead and drop a comment about where you're tuning in from. So where are you guys all at right now? Where do you live? Do I have any people from the Far West fam out there? Yeah, let me know where you guys are from. That way you know where you're tuning in from and who's out there with me. Throughout the brief, if the information that I am giving is helpful, please go ahead and give us a thumbs up. That way I know that the information's good, I'm answering your questions, and you guys are benefiting from this brief. So give us a like if what you're hearing is good and beneficial to you. All right, I see we have some people from New York right here with me. About to have another snowstorm coming in. Amy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, welcome. Barb from Ohio. Okay, Celine from San Jose, California. How's the weather there? Probably amazing. We could use some sunshine over here on the East Coast. Gustavo from Richmond Hill, Georgia. I have a few friends that live there. They're stationed at Fort Stewart. Zoe from San Antonio, Texas. My best friend lives there. She's actually in the Air Force. Awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. So happy to have you all. We have someone tuning in from Cambodia. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. It's probably midday there, huh? In Cambodia. Yes, beat Navy. That's what we like to hear around here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this information session. So on the agenda tonight, we're going to talk about what SLE is. We're going to talk a little bit about how to apply. We're going to give you a little bit of information on the program itself, and then we'll go into some frequently asked questions, and we'll end with some tips for success. So like I said before, if the information that I'm giving you is useful, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. And if you have any questions throughout the brief, go ahead and drop them down in the comments section. All right, so let's start out by talking about how you all are planning on spending the summer after your junior year of high school. Go ahead and comment it down below and share with the group your plans for the summer after your junior year of high school. I know that the COVID environment has kind of altered a lot of our plans, but are you planning on taking any trips to colleges that are allowing visitors on campus? Are you planning on studying some more so you can get a higher score on your ACT or your SAT? Are you going to start opening applications to the colleges that you're interested in? What are you planning on doing the summer after your junior year of high school? So I want to read you this quote here on the slide. It's from a previous candidate. So for high school juniors, even if you are, like me, unsure about whether you want to pursue a future at West Point or the military, I encourage you to apply for SLE. There, I met many other intelligent, talented, and determined individuals I hope to see again in the future. The camp demands, but I believe I left a stronger person because of it. So SLE, in a nutshell, is our way of giving candidates the opportunity to get out of their comfort zones, to meet other candidates from across the world, and to challenge themselves. And then ultimately, the goal of SLE is for you to be able to walk out of that having a better idea if West Point is going to be a good fit for you. All right, let's see what you guys are planning on doing this summer after your junior year. All right, somebody's going to attend Girls State. That's a good choice. All right, I don't know if you guys weren't super happy with that question, but go ahead and drop what you're planning on doing the summer after your junior year. We're gonna keep it moving. Okay, so what is SLE? So SLE is a week-long immersion into academic, military, and social life for those considering the United States Military Academy. So you're gonna be here for a week, and you're gonna undergo different things that you would undergo as a cadet. And you're gonna get firsthand, in-person opportunity to explore the campus from all angles. So you'll be able to do military training, you'll participate in athletic activities, and this is gonna allow you to get a better feel for if West Point's gonna be a good fit for you. So a lot of people don't think that they're going to be undergoing an R-Day type experience. So R-Day is our reception day. It's when all of the candidates from across the nation come to West Point before they enter their freshman year and they begin their Beast Barracks experience. So at SLE, you'll have a little mock R-Day, and so you'll have people yelling a little bit, rushing you around, making you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And so that will be a part of your experience, and you'll be able to decide how you feel about that and see how you react to that. You'll also be able to take advantage of academic workshops. You'll have a military experience, which is going to include some physical training, some weapons familiarization, as well as some obstacle courses. So a part of the physical training piece, you'll have the opportunity to take your candidate fitness assessment here. So this is a great opportunity if you show up to SLE in shape to pass your CFA, because then you won't have to worry about it when you move along in your application. And in addition to that, we have instructors from our Department of Physical Education that will be evaluating you on that candidate fitness assessment. And so they will be able to evaluate your form, and you won't have to submit videos to your candidate portal moving forward because it will already be approved by our Department of Physical Education. Weapons familiarization, so you'll get to have your hands on some of our weapon systems, which is a pretty cool opportunity, especially if you haven't had a chance to go to a range and shoot a weapon before. You won't be firing, but you'll be able to take a look at them, have some hands-on. And then lastly, our obstacle courses. This is a piece of SLE that a lot of candidates love. You'll go out to our obstacle courses, which you will be undergoing as a cadet a few different times, and be able to attempt those. And then lastly, one of the best parts about SLE is your interaction with current cadets as well as applicants from across the nation and across the world. So you'll be able to take advantage of having current cadets right there in person. You can ask them all of your questions and talk to them a little bit about their cadet experience one-on-one, and then you'll be able to meet people from across the world and then go into your application essentially with buddies to your left and right who, if you have a question, you guys can talk to each other, keep in touch with each other throughout the year, and kind of go through your applications together. So that's really nice. Let's see. All right, how to apply. So applying to SLE is not too difficult. So what you're going to do is go to westpoint.edu, and at the top you're going to see a little tab that's yellow or gold in color, and you'll be able to apply there. That's where you start your candidate questionnaire. So it opened up on January 15th. We're now a little late to the party, but still have plenty of time because it doesn't close until March 15th. So when you open your candidate questionnaire, you're going to be asked for some information, and by completing the candidate questionnaire, you'll be able to apply for SLE. So you'll have to provide your GPA, You will apply your SAT or ACT, or if you're unable to take an SAT or ACT with the current conditions because of COVID, we will be accepting your PSAT scores. If you are unsure about your current score, you don't think it's that great, don't worry, enter it, and then you will be able to update it from any ACT or SAT that you're taking, that you may have taken early February or you're taking in March. And then if testing is not possible due to COVID, like I stated before, you can use your PSAT score, or if you haven't even had the chance to take a PSAT, we'll look at your high school transcripts as well as all of your classes taken and consider your AP test scores as well. So the GPA and the test scores are going to be the primary evaluation criteria for SLE, but we also ask you to list your extracurricular activities as well as your sports because we take those into consideration as well. All right, do you guys have any questions for me right now? I'm gonna take a look and see. All right, Andrew, he's asking, if we have already completed the candidate questionnaire, when will we get any updates or know when we're accepted? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this later in the brief, but you will find out in April. That's when you will have an update and you will know if you are accepted. Let's see. A lot of people are asking if you have to take the SAT. So if you can't take an SAT, but you can take an ACT, then go ahead and take the ACT. We don't have a preference on which test you take. Just take one of them. And then, like I stated, if you're unable to get into a testing center because of COVID, we'll look at your PSAT scores, or we'll look at your transcripts and your GPA and everything. All right. Okay, let's move forward. All right, a little bit of information on SLE. So there's 2 sessions for SLE, and the first one begins on 29 May, and it goes until the 4th of June. And then the second session starts on the 5th of June and ends on the 11th of June. So candidates are going to be selected based off of the strength of the information that you're submitting in your candidate questionnaire, as well as your geographic region. So we accept candidates for admission each year from all across the country. Each congressional office nominates candidates for admission each year to the academy, so we want our pool of SLE candidates to accurately reflect what a typical class of West Point cadets looks like. So we'll be looking at the information you're submitting as well as your geographic location. When I answered Andrew's question just a few minutes ago, SLE admissions decisions are going to be made in April, and this is just because of COVID-19 and the current environment. We are not sure. We're planning on SLE being an in-person event this year, but we have to make that decision in April and decide if we're going to have to transition it to a virtual experience pending how the environment is with COVID-19. All right, getting accepted or not getting accepted to SLE does not determine if you will or will not get accepted to West Point. So if you apply to SLE and you don't get accepted, don't be deterred from completing your application. It does not mean that you don't have a chance at getting accepted to West Point. You still have a great chance, the same chance that you had if you hadn't applied for SLE, to getting accepted into West Point. So don't let not being selected for SLE deter you. There are only 500 slots in each SLE session, so there aren't enough slots for everybody. Continue in your application for sure. And then lastly, going to SLE doesn't give you any extra brownie points. It doesn't enhance your application at all. SLE is strictly designed to help you decide if West Point is going to be a good fit for you. So it's designed for you to come to campus and decide if you feel comfortable, if you enjoy the challenges that you're undergoing, if you enjoy being around people from across the world and across the nation, and then being able to move forward with a better idea and make your decision on which college you want to ultimately go to. All right. Okay, so let's go over some frequently asked questions. Will SLE occur this year? So yes, SLE is going to occur this year. We are planning for it to be in person, just like it has been in previous years outside of last year. But if this is not possible, then we will be hosting it virtually, and that decision is going to be made in April. The same time that you will receive notification if you have been accepted to SLE, and the same time that you'll be given notification. All right, should I attend SLE or should I attend girls or boys state? So this question, this decision is going to be up to you, and you should base it off of the strength of your extracurriculars as well as your schedule. So if you don't necessarily have strong extracurriculars on your application, then maybe considering boys or girls state would be a good idea for you. The best answer is going to be to attend both if you have the opportunity to, both boys or girls state as well as SLE. But if you have to decide between the two, definitely consider what your extracurriculars look like on your application and on your resumes, and then also consider if you feel that you need to experience West Point in person to be able to comfortably make a decision to come here. So West Point is a unique environment, and it's going to challenge you. So if you want to have a dose of that so you can feel more comfortable in choosing to pursue an appointment to West Point, then definitely apply for SLE and try to come here and experience it firsthand. All right, how much does SLE cost? So SLE will be approximately $500 to $550 per person. This does not include transportation, but it does cover each candidate's room, board, and then they'll be given some swag, little swag bags when they come here as well. So all of that will be covered from that cost, but transportation to and from SLE is going to be the responsibility of the candidate. All right, let's see what questions you guys have. We'll take a little break from the slideshow. Kayla said, do you have to cut your hair to military standards? You do not have to cut your hair to military standards to come to SLE. You are still a civilian. The only time you'll have to cut your hair to military standard is if you decide to come to West Point. On our day, you'll have to cut your hair to military standard. And if you don't show up with it cut, then we have barbers here that will cut it on our day. But for SLE, you absolutely do not have to cut your hair to military standards. You can keep the flow and enjoy it through SLE. Can we choose which date to attend SLE? You can preference the date that you would like to attend SLE, but we cannot guarantee that that date will be honored. It will depend on how the logistics of all of the candidates coming works itself out. But we definitely take a preference, so make sure that on your candidate questionnaire you're preferencing the date. Will a PSAT score have as much weight as an ACT score? Yes. So we're not going to discriminate just because you were unable to take an ACT or an SAT test. We honor the PSAT just as we honor the SAT or ACT. Moving forward, into your application, if you are unable to submit an SAT or an ACT score, you'll have to show us the SAT or ACT cancellation in order for us to honor your PSAT score. But for SLE, go ahead and submit that ACT, SAT, or PSAT score, and we honor it all the same. All right. Okay. Okay, let's hop back into the slideshow. All right, so now we're gonna cover some tips for success. The first one being apply early. So if you haven't yet opened your candidate questionnaire and applied for SLE, I would suggest that you do so. If you have time to go ahead and apply tonight, go ahead and open that candidate questionnaire and finish it tonight. If not, we're coming up on the weekend, so you should have some time on the weekend. And then if you don't feel like you're ready because you don't have new test scores, or you're feeling hesitant because of like current test scores, go ahead and just apply anyways, because you are going to be able to update your information with your new test scores after you receive them. Don't wait until the last minute. That doesn't help anyone involved. Be proactive and apply early. And then a good way to look at applying for SLE is that you're kicking off the application process. So instead of waiting until September or October or even late summertime to start your West Point application, SLE and completing your candidate questionnaire starts your West Point application. And the West Point application can be kind of intimidating to some. We see it as a marathon, not a sprint, and that marathon is going to be much easier to handle when you start it in January rather than later in the summer or later in the fall. So go ahead and get that started now. The next tip that we have for you guys is to show up to SLE physically fit. Like I said earlier, you're going to have every candidate that attends SLE is going to take a CFA. And so if you're physically fit and ready to crush the CFA, it's just an application requirement that gets knocked out early. We suggest that prior to coming to SLE, you take a mock CFA, a mock candidate fitness assessment. That way you know what to expect. Some of the events are kind of awkward. The basketball throw, for instance, is a little awkward if you've never done it before. So if you take a mock candidate fitness assessment prior to coming to SLE, you'll most likely do better on your CFA at SLE and have a better chance of passing it and knocking that application requirement out. If you passed your CFA at SLE, you will not have to do it again. And like I said earlier, you will not have to submit your CFA videos going through the review process, or you won't have to worry about them going through the review process. And then lastly, show up with a good attitude. It's going to be challenging, and maybe you'll have a rough day depending on the type of person that you are and what you've been exposed to thus far. You're gonna be exposed to some new things. So show up with a good attitude and be ready to experience new things and to grow as a person. And then you're also gonna meet some great people. So if you show up with a good attitude, you're gonna just attract other candidates and you're gonna make great friends, and you guys are gonna tackle the challenges together and build a small team. And that's really what we're about here at West Point. Meeting great people and coming together to make a great team and grow into great leaders. So come with a good attitude. That way you can truly have a good idea on whether or not West Point is going to be the right fit and a good fit for you. All right. Let's see what questions you guys have. So Talon asked, what happens if SLE is virtual? Will it still be $500? So if we have to shift SLE to a virtual environment, the cost will most likely adjust with that because you won't be here in person needing chow or board or room or board or anything like that. So yes, the cost would be adjusted from $500 if SLE does get transitioned into a virtual event. Megan said, we did the questionnaire, but the application part would not load. How do we fix this? So the candidate questionnaire is the first step in your application. The second step is not going to open until later in the spring. So just stand by for that second step to open. And then come springtime, if you still have issues, I would suggest contacting your admissions officer. So go on the West Point admissions website and look at the little map, click on where your state is at, and you'll see your representatives for your region. I'm in the far west, so if you are in the far west, then I might be the person that you're talking to. Okay. Can we open a candidate questionnaire before we are juniors in high school? So the answer is no. So you can't apply for SLE until you are a junior in high school. Up until that point, I would suggest that you go on our website and take a look around and continue doing research and educating yourself on what the West Point experience is. And then once your junior year rolls around, you'll be more than ready and super educated for this application process and joining the long gray line. Okay. If SLE ends up being online this year, will more candidates be accepted? So that question is going to be decided on in April, once our leadership here has a chance to consider everything with COVID-19. Those are the types of things that they will discuss. We'll see if we have a platform that can host more candidates than we could host in person, potentially. More candidates could be accepted, but that's going to be a decision that will be made in April. All right, so let's move in to this quote from a previous candidate that attended SLE, but they actually did not end up coming to West Point after their SLE experience. So as cliche as it may sound, I grew a lot as a person in this week. The camp forced me to assume confidence because to survive challenges, I had to trust in myself, my body, my mind, my choices. I left SLE with more self-awareness. So a week at SLE is definitely going to teach you about yourself. The activities that you'll be taking part in will be challenging in ways that you probably haven't experienced before. So this is going to help you to decide if West Point is a good fit for you, if this is a good environment for you to be in. This particular candidate, like I said, didn't decide to attend West Point. However, they found SLE to still be extremely beneficial. So if you're on the fence about the United States Military Academy, or if you're on the fence about applying to SLE, I'd say go ahead and apply. You're not going to regret your experience. You're definitely going to grow, and you're going to be exposed to people and things that you haven't been exposed to before. All right, so that is the end of the information that I have for you guys. I'm going to hop over to these comments again and see what questions you guys have for me. If the information has been helpful so far, go ahead and give us a like, a thumbs up. That way I know that you guys are receiving the information that I'm putting out. All right, so Jenna asked, what is an example of a day scheduled during SLE? So a day scheduled during SLE is going to be similar to a day in the life of a cadet, a West Point cadet. So you're going to wake up pretty early in the morning, and from there you're going to potentially do physical activity, and then after that you will eat breakfast, and then depending on what's planned for that day, be it an academic workshop, some sort of military experience, so like we spoke about before, weapons familiarization, or an obstacle course, you will go ahead and engage in that activity. And then at the end of the day, I mean, you'll eat meals all throughout the day. So you'll have breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then at the end of the day, you will go back to your barracks room, and you'll be staying with at least one other candidate in the barracks. You'll have opportunities throughout your days to talk to other candidates, talk to the cadets that are in charge of you, the cadre, and gain information on their West Point experience. And then you'll have lights out and you'll wake up and do it again, essentially. So Is Sle is definitely a great opportunity. You're gonna experience a week in the life of a cadet, and your days are gonna look similar to what a cadet's day would look like here at West Point. All right. Is an example of mock CFA available to view on the West Point admissions page. So you can Google a candidate fitness assessment. It's the same for all of the academies. So if you Google it, you should be able to find the candidate fitness assessment, and it will show you all of the different events that it consists of. So there are 6 events. And yeah, go ahead and give it a Google, and it'll tell you like the different time frames that you'll be completing each event in, and things like that. And then you'll also be able to find the averages for each of the events. So that's good information to have. You should shoot for those averages or higher as a candidate that's going into their CFA or taking a mock CFA, practicing for it. Shoot for those averages. And you should be able to train pretty well to do well in your CFA. Okay. Let's see. When do we submit official transcripts? So you can submit your transcripts now. We're accepting them. So if you have them, go ahead and submit them. You probably don't have your full 6th semester transcript because you're in your 6th semester right now. So you can start submitting them now, and we are accepting them and uploading them to your file. Let's see, what else do we have? Matthew Scott asked, has West Point dropped the requirement for the essay portion of the SAT? So the SAT recently stopped offering the essay portion. So yes, naturally we are not going to be requiring the essay portion of the SAT because you're going to be unable to take that. I'm sure that the next question is going to be, so what about the ACT? If you are taking the ACT, they're still offering the essay portion, so go ahead and take the essay portion to cover your basis. Hopefully that answers a question that I'm sure is coming up soon. Okay, Talon, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but you asked, question about sport recruiting. How do we go about playing on a West Point team? So if you're interested in playing on one of our NCAA sports, then you are going to go to our sports website, Go Army West Point Sports. So just Google it, and on there you'll find contact information for coaches. So you'll be able to get in touch with whatever sport you're interested in playing, the coach to that sport, and that's how you would go about getting on their radar and potentially being able to be recruited or walk on to that team. All right. see. All right, so I'm gonna take one or two more questions, and then after that, we will answer all of your questions in the chat if I'm unable to answer it here live. Let me see. What are the remaining questions that we have? A lot of people are still asking if about transcripts. So Noah asked, can our counselors send our transcripts for us? Yes, your high school counselor can send the your transcript starting now. That is just fine. All right, I'm not seeing any new questions. If you do have a new question, go ahead and drop it now. That way I can answer it. Otherwise, I will be letting you all go. Okay, Samuel, when is the earliest we can hear about acceptance? You will hear about acceptance in April. So just stand by until then. We'll have a little more information for you on whether or not it's going to be in person or virtual. And then you will be told if you're going to be accepted. And then I think I saw one more question, if you're going to be able to use your fitness scores for your application. So yes, if you pass your CFA here during SLE, you will be able to use those scores on your application. All right, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us tonight. It's been really great talking to you. I hope this session has been beneficial to you. Go ahead and give us a like if it was beneficial, and don't forget to follow us at all of our pages. So West Point Admissions on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. That way you can stay up to date on all of the latest and greatest information. We do briefings like this, information sessions, about once a week. So you can gain a lot of information. And if I didn't answer any questions that you've had, go ahead and scroll back on our West Point Admissions page, and there are other briefings to tune into. And then, yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great evening. Bye.